Record. We did it, ladies and gentlemen. Can everybody hear us on the Zoom?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, good, good. What's up, Leah and Jake? Good to see you guys.
Awesome, guys.
We got a few people. We got Corey and Eddie in my group, and then a few people in your group, and let's make it
I
happen.
know we got people in my free group, people in your free group, and we're going live on Zoom. So, okay, I'm gonna
If we pull this off,
admit Dave Parrott in the house.
musicians.
All right.
Oh, that guy.
What's up, my brother?
Whoa, there's that guy. What's up, Dave?
Hello.
Um,
All right. Um,
Cool.
awesome. Okay, now that we have all the tech situated.
All right. I'm gonna mute everybody. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do teaching, then we'll open up Q&A toward the end. So we'll get everybody muted and get ready to rock.
Yes, and obviously you can talk in the chat. If anything comes up as we're going and you want to just log a question, you can put that in the chat and we will get to answering that as soon as possible. Or if you're in the free group, you can put a comment in the comment section. And then at the end, we will answer questions. We may bring a few on to coach live if you're down, if you want it. And at the end, we have some special like announcements and perks for this group specifically that is on here live. So that's exciting.
Barry, let's happen.
Okay, cool. We are so excited to jump into this. We've been planning this for some time. Kind of going back and forth with some ideas about what we really want to bring forward. And this just kept coming. And we're like, okay, God, we get it. Like we hear the message, and so we're ready to rock and roll.
Ready? You ready?
Yeah.
Did
Um,
I mess up the thing again?
what do you mean?
It's high tech. I'm gonna blame Dave for this.
What do you mean?
This you see this auto framing thing? You got auto frames when you have
Well, I'm going to talk with my hands, so that's too bad.
you use magic magic fingers.
High tech.
You're using your jazz fingers.
Okay, well, we're here for it.
Let's go.
Okay. All right, we good now?
Yeah, baby, let's roll.
Okay. All right, y'all. We're really good at this, I promise. Okay, so diving in, for those of you who are either on live or catching us live, if you're new here, if you're new to our world, I'm Jocelyn Vance,
I'm Jim Vance.
and we are married and partners in
Is that
purpose.
what they call this? Is that what they call this shit?
We're partners in purpose and life and parenting and all the things. So, we just to give a little background about us, we've been together for 12 years.
Mhm.
And before that, we were both married previously for 10 years before that. And so we came together, and it was a lot of like really um,
Fun times.
mirrored wounded spaces, but also some healing that had taken place, obviously. And through our journey together, we have done a lot of work individually and together. And a lot of the individual work that we're going to kind of dive into tonight is around personal identity and becoming someone who's magnetic and powerful within your own self, and then how that actually impacts everyone around you, your relationships, your kids, your clients, your customers, your coworkers. I know we have several of you who are business owners who are tapping into this, and some of you, are doing your own purpose in other avenues and other places. So we're not going to make it specific to business, specific to whatever, but
Relationships or anything like that. We're going to
yeah.
kind of talk about the whole person because that's what we do. We work on the whole person, not one part of them.
Yeah, so if you consider yourself a high achieving, heart-led man or woman, then this is the room for you. We consider ourselves very powerful leaders of what we do, and the heart that we have is all about true impact and really like catapulting identities to become more successful in your life, in your love, and in your leadership. And what we do a lot is work with other powerful leaders to become more conscious, more connected, and have more cash, have more clients, have more space where you feel like you are a conscious leader of your life. So,
Absolutely. And I think with that, we need to tell them a little bit about us
yeah, you want to go?
because, yeah,
You can start that train?
that's a long train, but yeah. Introductory of our story. I'll just tell my story, and then you can tell your story, and then we can tell our story.
I'm gonna do the like Cliff Notes version.
That's good because that's the whole thing. When we first got together 12 years ago, yeah, I had started a little bit of a journey of personal development. I had been working on myself for 20 something years before, through college and learning and all that, but I never really addressed the identity of who I was. I more addressed the identity of my mind and what I wanted it to know instead of how I was operating, who I was being in the world, and especially in relationships. And so when I met her, like I remember we started talking in December of 2013. We met in January of 2014. And I remember meeting her and telling myself and telling her, I was like, you are the one. I don't know if I'm the one because I'm not ready for this game.
You
Um,
did say that
I
actually.
did.
And I said, I'm never getting married again, so it doesn't matter. Like, I will never get married again, so don't even try.
But she did tell me, she's like, I want to hold space and if you're willing to show up for it, then I'll be here to watch you go through it. And so ever since then, for the last 12 years, it's been this daily journey of being better, just being a better human. And then in being better humans, we became better as a couple. Um, and in that beginning piece, I really paid attention to this piece right here. And what we're going to talk about tonight is like magnetic power. Like I was not a very magnetic person. I had a magnetic personality, but I repelled everything that I wanted in my life, especially the thing I wanted the most, which was love. Because I was the king of chameleons. I was the chameleonaire, if they want to call it. Like I could fit into every group and fit into every space.
You were magnetic through manipulation.
Yes, that's a good one. I was a magnetic manipulator. Absolutely. I'm a really good nice guy. And I used to use women as a way to feel better about me being a man. And in that, I could shape shift into any spot and make anybody feel a certain way so that I could feel good in their presence. And over time, I have this person over here, and if you know her and you've ever met her, that shit don't fly too far. And so I got called to the frying pan way one too many times, and I just we in about 2017, 2018, she just eventually told me like, "Hey, I want to go this way in life, and I want you to go with me, but I'm not gonna beg you. I'm not gonna chase you. I'm gonna go. And if you want to come, I got room on the train for you to come with me, but I'm gonna need you to do some work on the problems that you have that you brought into this place. Because it's not me, it's not this place, it's you bringing shit here. And so since then, I've made a daily choice, a moment to moment choice. I've had clients ask me, like, when did you choose to be better? I was like, I just choose every second to work on this shit every day. And as my as I've developed, what I really see in my life is I have two beautiful daughters, I have an amazing son, I have an amazing wife, and they are my mirrors. They teach me how to be a better man every day. And in that, I've become a better man for her and really a better man for my life, which I love.
Yeah, and so when I came into this, I was the, overgiver, the people pleaser, really like in some ways questioning my worth. I was the fixer. I attracted projects instead of partners. I was the person who was self-abandoning over and over and over again. I was the, the person who energetically was there for everybody else, but didn't like really show up for myself. I was lacking deep self-love at the deepest core, and I was giving love to every single person outside of myself. I had a lot of wounded masculine energy. I needed to be in control. I was a powerhouse. I was independent. I was don't fuck with me. I had walls, 10 million feet high and, a barricade around my heart. And in several ways, um, I was always the person who couldn't be vulnerable. It was weakness. I was the person who showed up in a way that always felt like I needed to move in a certain way to get something, even though I wasn't conscious of this. I was just doing it. And I would shapeshift. I was also a chameleon, the queen chameleon.
The subconscious manipulator.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I had to look in the mirror and like own I was like manipulating people by being a people pleaser, by being an overgiver, like that was That was huge for me. So when we came into this, I had done a little bit more work at this point. I had hired a life coach, my first life coach, like the year I met him. And then I quickly went into deep personal development shortly as we were meeting. And then we went through this whole space of mirroring and wounds and things I was seeing and things he was seeing. And then 2018 came. I actually flew out to Colorado for a month and got my NLP, hypnotherapy, timeline therapy, and master life and success coaching, and did a lot of deep work on my subconscious identity and my wounds and my ways that I was showing up.
You were gone for like 3 weeks too.
It was almost a month.
I know.
And when I came back, I was kind of like, it's like one of those things where you like go and you immerse yourself in like 4 weeks of deep, deep work. I came back and I was a different person. And I was a different person energetically. I was a different person in how I saw myself. I was different in the standards I was available for and not available for. And I kind of came to him and I was like, I'm no longer available for this dynamic. And in the dynamic, even in myself, like taking full ownership of like where I was, but I'm no longer available for this dynamic. And then shortly after that, some things just like really started snowballing and like coming like front screen of like the major deep threaded challenges or issues in our dynamic and within ourselves. And oh, I gotta let somebody in. Sorry. So in that time, I pretty much held a standard of you're either gonna get on board or you're not. And that night he slept in his vehicle in the Kroger parking lot. That was fun, I'm sure.
It was just I have a thing with cars in the dark.
And I literally like I sat out a blanket and a pillow on the back porch. Like I was being fairly nice and accommodating for this for the situation. But he chose his car, which was great. And had a kind of dark night of the soul and spent up all night researching things and had a lot of awarenesses. And I think God spoke to you that night in some ways that we'll never fully understand. But
Me in the darkness
yeah.
always works.
From there, we went to work. He went to work individually. I went to work individually, and we went to work together. We wound up hiring coaches for ourselves and us together in 2019. And then he went and got the same certifications I got. And then 2020 rolls around, and the whole world shuts down, and we're here by ourselves, and we just started creating together. And before that, I had been coaching. I had been in the coaching field for many years. I left teaching in 2016. Many different niches. I was in the health niche originally, and then business, and then obviously we kind of launched the relationship side. So
Yeah.
lots of core identity work. And so we come to you as two individuals that had our own journey, that had our own stuff, that had a lot of work to do as two individuals, two individual people, two individual soul, two individual past, and then how we actually ascended in our own magnetism and power within ourselves, and then how that impacted our dynamic as a couple, and then now our mission and purpose together and separately.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And I think not having the opportunity to ever go through that, we would never be where we are right now.
no,
And it takes one, and we're big on this point, and we'll talk about it. We'll hammer it. If you've been around us, you've heard it. It just takes one in a relationship to lead that relationship, to make that relationship run. It takes one person to ignite the other person, and in this case, it was her. And there have been times since then where it's been me, and we kind of switch the roles. It just
hmm
depends on the season we're in, and it's never just. We always hear, "Well, it's the man's job to make the or lead the other person." Sometimes the man is not consciously aware to lead himself. And he may need a stoke. He may need a little cattle prod in the ass. He may need whatever to get him moving in the right direction, because the one thing man loves more than anything is we love love. And the idea of losing the thing that we love will be an igniter for a lot of men.
well, a lot of men in the masculine need the awakened feminine
Yes.
and need the conscious woman to come in at different places and spaces. So it's a dance. And we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. This particular masterclass, we're not diving very deep on, the relational dynamics solely, or masculine and feminine dynamics, although that's a huge part of being magnetic and powerful within yourself. So we are going to talk about that. But obviously, our relationship is just an extension of the two individuals sitting here. And every person that we talk to, whether it be in relational dynamics that we're like leading and guiding people in, or it be business and purpose, or it just be self-ascension, then no matter what, it's the two individuals that make up it all, or the individual that is contributing to that. So
Absolutely.
when we talk about magnetism and being powerful, we always reference, we're a frequency and we all are frequency. We're all energetic bodies. Everything around us is frequency. Other people are frequency. And when we think about money, it's a frequency. When we think about people, it's frequency. The energetic vibration of
Yeah,
everything.
you think about intimacy, it's a frequency.
Yeah.
Everything around you is an energetic frequency that you can align to or not be aligned with. And what we want to talk about is how do we become more commonly aligned with the things that we want in life by maintaining and being in leadership of our own energetic frequency.
Yeah, because the highest frequency, like if you look at the emotional guidance scale, which I don't remember who guru was talked about that, but y'all can look it up. I'm sure it'll say.
Yes.
But it's, there's different levels of frequencies that we hold, and the top level, the highest frequency is love and authenticity and gratitude. And so those are like when you're in those states, like truly anchored in those states, you are vibrating at the highest frequency possible, which is very magnetic, which
Yes.
is very like you draw things to you. When you are in a low frequency, the lowest frequency is fear and shame. And so when we're in fear and shame, you're vibrating at a very low frequency, and therefore you're attracting those frequencies, but you're almost repelling the things that you want, because obviously we don't want fears, we don't want shame, we don't
Yes.
want to feel these things. And then you can go up the guidance scale, and it's like then you go to anger, and then you go to overwhelm, and there's so many different ones there. But the lower you go in the frequencies, the more you're repelling what you want, and you're actually attracting the things you don't want.
And you'll see like a lot of times in this energetic frequency, as you go up the ladder, it's more toward being. When you go down the ladder, it's more toward doing. And the higher you are being, the more energetically aligned you are with higher frequencies. So like love a lot of times gets described as a feeling that you do, but the reality is it's like this is a beingness about who you are, in love with your life, in love with yourself, and in love with the world around you. And that energetic frequency allows you to be more open to receiving and giving love to the world around you.
Yeah, because we're all energetic beings, and everything outside of us, holds these frequency too. And we always are attracting. And I think that's the key thing. There's all this like jargon out here in the personal development world around manifesting. And there's so much around like, sitting and visualizing and writing I am statements and writing affirmation statements, and all of that are good practices potentially.
Yes.
But as far as like actually being somebody who attracts what you want, who manifests what you desire, who is a magnet and powerful to, attract what you actually are meant for, what your soul came here for, what you truly are desiring, that comes from your identity. That comes from a state of your energetic being. And we can attract multiple things. So it's like manifesting. Okay, you can manifest what you don't want. You can manifest what you do want.
You're manifesting.
You're manifesting all the time.
All the time.
And so like this whole thing about like start manifesting, oh no, you already are. Like we manifest everything at this point. And our external reality is simply a reflection of our internal state of being. And so it's not that we attract like what we don't want or we attract what we want. It's like you attract who you are. You attract who you are being.
Yes.
And I always say we attract who we are, and that there's a caveat to that. So there's like we attract who we are, and we attract who we're being, and we attract who we're programmed to be, and we attract our identity.
Yes.
And those actually are somewhat different things, but
Yeah.
you attract and you are a magnet to who you are.
Yeah. Because a lot of people think I attract what I want, but you don't. You never attract what you want. You attract who you're being. And that's why a lot of people, I get so many guys like, I work my ass off and I provide and I do all this, and still I get women who take advantage of me. Yes, that's who you are. That's not what you do. Like you can do nice things, but if you're being weak, you're being no boundaries, no standards, and an overgiver and a people pleaser, then you're going to find people that will overtake you. It's just the way life goes. It's not about what you're doing in the world, it's who you're being in the world. It's be, do, then have, instead of do, have, and be. And
Yeah.
that's what most of us try to do.
Thank y'all for watching and commenting on these. And we're going to get to those. So, yeah, so it's like this space where it's like I always say, we don't attract what we want, we attract who we are. We don't attract what we want, we attract our identity. We don't attract what we want, we attract what our nervous system is actually available for. And this can come from like subconscious identity and unconscious realms of being, unconscious shadows, unconscious things that are going on. And a lot of people in this industry use those words interchangeably. They're actually very different. So subconscious identity is different than unconscious identity, unconscious shadows. They're two different things and they operate differently. Our subconscious identity is our thoughts, our beliefs, our stories, our programming, our patterns, our habits. And our unconscious identity or unconscious shadows are the deeper things that aren't layered right into the part of our brain where we can tap into them. They're things that we can't even access or awaken to until we do. And whether that be through a coach, whether that be through an experience, whether that be through a situation that you now have self-awareness and higher levels of consciousness. But those things are obviously running 95% of who we are and what we're doing. And so when we know that, we can actually be empowered through that versus being like, well, oh shit, like I'm like 95% of like what I do and who I am is like unconscious and subconscious. Well, how the hell am I supposed to ever change or how am I supposed to, shift? Well, you're lucky because this is what we do.
You gotta kind of upgrade the software.
It's my superpower.
Yeah, we upgrade the soul software.
Yeah.
And that's kind of our goal is to, like, you've been programmed since you were a kid from between the ages of 0 and 8. And then at some point, but after 8, usually around 35 to 45, you wake up and like, I don't like this picture anymore. This shit sucks. Like, I want to change the way this looks.
It
And
doesn't even have to suck.
well, I mean, it doesn't have to suck, but it doesn't feel good a lot of times because you're not wanting to change a picture if it looks good. Like if I'm looking at the beach all day, I don't want to change that picture. I want to look at it. But if I'm looking at dirty water all day, I got to find me a beach to look at. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, and I think sometimes like there's been things where I was like, well, I'm good, but I really want fucking great. I mean, who doesn't want like fucking great?
I
Like
agree.
I'm like I'm good. Things are cool. Things are good, but it's like, yeah, but I want fucking great. Like I want to go to a next level. And
Yes,
there's also that realm of shifting,
absolutely.
who we are too. So
Absolutely. 100%.
so we are always like, attracting. I had like last week, there was so many things that I thought I've already worked through. And I had, but there was like so many deeper layers of it. And we're on this journey and we're not sitting here as two perfect individuals who never have to lead ourselves or never have to have moments where
What about you?
where we are like navigating, but it's like, are you at the conscious seat of your awareness of your life? Are you navigating and leading yourself in the moments when there's these layers that are coming in? And that's what we do, and that's who we are, and that's why we're here. And a big
Yes.
mission on our heart is to one, awaken so like there's like pieces of our brand individually and together, but it's like our whole goal is to awaken you first, awaken you to what maybe is going on and what's running that you haven't been taught, that we didn't know. We aren't taught this shit in school. Like
No.
my parents didn't know this shit. Like I wasn't taught this in school. So it's like we've had to learn and we've had to really grow and teach ourselves and then let life teach us and experience and embodiment teach us and investing a shitload in ourselves.
Because life will teach you.
Yeah.
No doubt.
But it's very necessary to
Yeah.
really dive into these things because we're operating from a lens oftentimes that's not actually who we truly are, like at a soul level, like who we were born here to be. It's like a lot of it is programmed. A
Yeah.
lot of it's coming from external people, places, things, experiences that then we created this identity or this way of being that isn't necessarily serving who we truly are, like at a soul level, a soul divine identity level, and where we want to go. And to be magnetic and to be powerful, there's certain things that we've come up with, and we could literally teach for hours on this stuff, but we're gonna try and like dense it down for y'all. And we're gonna cover 5 key concepts that we feel like, and I always say,
We're going to condense. We're not going to dense.
what'd I say?
Dense it.
I got my own dictionary. It don't matter.
If we dense it, then we're going to talk for hours.
Dense it. Condense it.
Condense it, we're going to shrink it.
I actually knew that word. I just said it wrong. The amount of times, if you've been in our programs, like the amount of times like Jim has to like correct my vocabulary and my dictionary is large. I make up my own, I make up my own
I get
shit.
it. No, I understand.
If people get it, like, I mean, it's not like it's, what I'm talking
I
about.
don't know.
I thought she said it right.
I don't know the shit you talking about.
Susan knows. She knows I've been making up my own shit. Okay, so we're gonna dive into five key concepts, and I always say like to get your frequency on fleek, but I know that's like sounds a little not for you, but
It's not for me.
I'm like I'm getting my frequency on fleek, I'm just like anyway.
Just getting lit up over here.
But the more magnetic that you become, the more powerful you feel, the more you feel like you actually are the co-creator of your life. Our kids just got home. And so when we really think about bringing your frequency to a level where you're actually like in the force field, in the quantum, you are a magnet to what you want, not to what you don't want.
Yes.
There's five key things we're going to cover tonight that I think is going to be really powerful.
Ooh,
You want to go first?
Do I want to go first? I think you go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So number one is we obviously attract our identity. We've talked about that. It's like who you are. And we've talked about like there's different levels of frequency that operate under. But when we think about being magnetizing to what we want, obviously we could say like we want love. We want to feel deep connection. We want love. We want money. We want to feel abundant. We want to feel free. We want to feel confident. We want to feel good about ourselves. We want to feel like we're like the Mac Daddy, like I'm the bee's knees, bitch. Like, you want to have this energy where it's like you are the thing. And oftentimes, and I think we both have talked about this, the language that we often hear is we want to be chosen.
Yes.
We want to be chosen by people. We want to be chosen by clients. We want to be chosen by money. We want to be chosen by life. And when we think of,
Chosen by our partner.
well, yeah,
Yeah, that's a big one.
of course.
Absolutely.
Did I say love?
No,
Oh,
you're just talking my money over here. Good Lord, let me go get my. No, we signed that prenup. We good.
I want to be chosen by friends. Like there's so many times where like I wasn't, I didn't feel chosen in groups, in situations. I felt outcasted. I felt misunderstood. I felt like I wasn't like getting what I wanted, and I was attracting a lot of mirrors and a lot of things that like I felt isolated. I felt, not seen, not heard. And so when we think about that, it's the core of the identity work of coming back into realizing that when you are not being chosen and you don't feel like you're a magnet to what you desire in people, places, things, opportunity, it comes down to really going within and asking yourself on an identity level, where do I stand with that within myself? And really looking at if I want to be magnetic, then how am I showing up to be a magnetic person? How am I showing up being the person that others want to choose?
Yes.
How do I show up in my belief systems, my authenticity, my confidence, my standards, my values, my integrity? How do I show up in alignment? And I always say like alignment is thoughts plus feelings plus aligned actions equals alignment, because it obviously starts with your mind, and that ultimately then moves. And we always say like your brain, your consciousness, your identity, your subconscious identity, and then obviously your feelings, which is felt in your nervous system. It's your nervous system work. It's really like calibrating your nervous system to be a match to what you want as well. And then the aligned action, that's the doing part, but it's doing in alignment with what you want and what you say you want. Oh, gotta let somebody else in. Okay. And in doing that, then you attract that. So it's like, for example, if I'm like, okay, I want to lose 50 pounds or I want to be a healthy person, then I go to say, okay, well, who am I being at an identity level that is either equaling somebody who's healthy and on that level or someone who is not? And there's multiple things that can come into play there. And so long when I was in the health industry, it was like, are you working out? Are you drinking your water? Are you sleeping? Are you, doing all the doing things, which would be aligned action? Like, are you doing the aligned action things? But then when you really dove into the identity around being healthy, it's like, how do you view yourself? How do you talk to yourself? What are the things you're thinking and saying to yourself when you look in the mirror, when you put on clothes, when you see yourself in pictures, when you're moving in a way that when you really take like a higher consciousness lens, how are you thinking about this thing?
Yes.
And is that in alignment with the belief systems, the stories of somebody who has what you want? Because if it's not, then you're out of alignment. Your thoughts and your beliefs and your stories aren't matching what you're saying you desire. Therefore, you're not a magnet for it. Therefore, you're not feeling empowered in it. And then where are your feelings? Like, what is the things you actually feel around being healthy, around being a healthy person, around who you are when it comes to being XYZ, whatever it be. It could be health, it could be in a relationship,
Yeah.
it can be in your business. And when you really look at the identity, that's
And you
what's
can
important.
interchange feelings and beliefs because a lot of times
Yeah.
people don't associate with that word feeling. So it's like, what do you believe about yourself? And so if you're like, hey, I feel good, but do you believe you're not a healthy person? Do you believe you'll never lose this weight? Do you believe um, I got my mama's big bones or whatever your story is? Like, do you believe those things? Because if your belief doesn't align with what you want, then your belief will counteract your actions, it will counteract your thoughts, and you won't ever move. So all the things have to move in the same direction. When we talk about alignment, like your thoughts, your feelings slash beliefs need to move in the same direction as your actions. Because if one's off, something else is going to disconnect in the process.
Yeah, and it's really looking at like where are you in integrity with yourself? Do you do what you say you're going to do? Where are you at in your self-trust? And like these types of characteristics is what makes you magnetic.
Yes.
Because if I'm out of integrity with myself and then I'm beating myself up in my mind and then I'm feeling like shit, then that energy is what I'm like putting out there. But then I expect somebody else to feel good about me, or I expect somebody else to choose me or want me. But in reality, like I'm putting out this energy and this frequency of, I don't even like myself. Like, how do I expect somebody else to like me? And then unconsciously, we go to all these people to try and fill those voids. We go to people and places and opportunities, and like our ego seeks out these things to fulfill these voids that we're actually, creating within our own self.
Yeah. And in that, we tend to lose ourselves even further, chasing the validation or the approval or the acceptance because we have to mask who we know we ourselves to be in order to feel like we're good enough to be in the presence of somebody else. And I see this a lot in men. I know you see this in women where we mask our own authenticity and our own thoughts about ourselves because we don't believe that we're good enough to receive that level of love or acceptance or appreciation from someone.
And that goes into number two, where we're really going into like
Yeah, the phone.
chasing versus the avoidant energies. And we're going to dive into number three that kind of plays into this, but we're
Yes.
going to do this one first. So it's like we say chasing, but it could be anxious.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll talk about it. I think most people are going to see it as anxious or avoidant, and we'll just, whatever you want to call it, we can call it attachment styles, you can call it whatever you want to call it. I think it's just, it's wounded energy, right? Chasing and avoiding, and how you show up to the things that you want. Like, are you the person that chases after, or are you the person that avoids the thing?
Yeah, so if you want to be magnetic and powerful, either one of those actually repels what you want.
Yes.
So like being over anxious and chasing, like what you chase runs away from you. What you need to cling on to is like get the fuck away from me.
I do that. I used to do that. No, I mean, I used to choke the life out of things that I loved because I was so afraid to lose it that I would do anything to hold on to it. And in that doing anything to hold on to it, I literally gave it all away. And I chased it all away. And I always felt like, holy crap, like I can't do anything right. And everything I do, everything that I create in this process never works out the way I wanted it to. Because the reality is I was I didn't feel good enough to have it. And so because I didn't feel good enough to have it, I felt like I needed to choke it. And when I say choke, like literally bug the shit out of, grab a hold of, hold on to, please don't leave me. Please don't go away. Please don't get out of my sight. I don't know if I can handle it. That level of anxiety. And then that comes from obviously tons of abandonment wounds as a kid and the way I was raised and all that stuff. I know the whole deep work of it. But if you're trying to have a great relationship, it don't matter because it repels everything you want.
Yeah, and obviously the first one we talked about is like the identity work piece, and
Yes.
this is the more the nervous system part piece,
Yes.
right? Where it's like your nervous system is going to respond, and oftentimes your nervous system is at the capacity of the level of the past that you've had, specifically from zero to 8 years old, and like then also any traumas and things that like have been stored and safety mechanisms, and then also how we viewed people in our life and the patterns that we unconsciously took on that we didn't even know we were taking on as we watched the people in our lives and their relational dynamics and then how they obviously had a relationship with us. And so the chasing energy or the needing to hold on energy or the needing energy is obviously not magnetizing
No.
because what you chase runs away from you. What you need to cling on to, it's not going to come. And then obviously anything that you're lacking, because if you're trying to like chase something, that means you don't have it, then that is ultimately going to then show up more in the lack and the scarcity of how you're operating.
Yes.
And then the avoidant energy is kind of like the opposite, but still ultimately not magnetizing. I was bad. I was pretty bad avoidant. Um, and even now, like recognizing like there's a level that we had to like create safety within our own self and then move from that to be magnetizing even in these energies that actually then wound up healing them some.
Yeah.
But the avoidant energy is like dismiss and like get away. It's like the avoidance of not really wanting to be truly seen, shutting down completely when you feel unsafe,
Mhm.
going into like this big like boss bitch energy or like, this energy of like you can't fuck with me,
Yeah, stone cold, arm's distance,
no
no
emotion.
emotions. I got it under control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need to control like these things. Like the avoidant energy also does not magnetize because when you're avoiding, it's like you're going away, but most people they can't be because their energy is off. What was that? Oh,
I think too, what's important to understand, and I really want to put this in here because I want you to not look at it this with any judgment and any like shame because the avoidant and the anxious both have the same wound. They just manifest in a different way. They really both just want to be loved. They want to be chosen, and then that's all they want more than anything. It's just that the avoidant believes that love is dangerous, and the anxious believes that the lack of love is dangerous. Like the absence of love is dangerous. And so, but they both want it, but they're scared of it. They're scared to let go of it or they're scared to hold on to it. So the thing that they really desire, they run it away from them because they haven't trained their nervous system enough to be comfortable loving themselves. So therefore, they don't even know what it feels like for somebody to come in and actually choose them and appreciate them and love on them and give to them. And so every time somebody did come close, their nervous system wasn't trained enough to say, I can allow that in and it's okay.
and
And
like we have a lot of evidence, usually we have a lot of evidence that we need to be this way. And our nervous system, which is something that is running on autopilot, unconsciously, literally does its own thing, we don't have necessarily control over. And so it's just going to react and it's going to do the thing. The key and the most magnetic and powerful thing that you can do is to have awareness of how you operate and then not necessarily even like go in the past and like let's drudge up all the shit and rub it on our face and like roll in it and
it smells good.
no. It's more so like just recognizing how you operate, bringing conscious awareness to when you are operating this way,
Yes.
be able to have tools to regulate your nervous system, to be able to have tools to ask for what you need. And it's obviously this shows up big time in intimate relationships. It's like the most, intimate mirror that you can have, but it also shows up everywhere else. It shows up with your kids, shows up with your friends.
Shows up with your kids exponentially. They
Yeah.
will mirror to you. Your kids will teach you more about yourself than, trust me, I got a little blonde-headed chick in there that will, I feel like I'm talking to myself. Like, I want to headbutt you.
She don't fall far from this.
For real.
Um, so yeah, so it and then it also very much shows up in your business because your business, in my opinion, or your purpose is also one of the most powerful mirrors next to your intimate partnership for you. And it's going to be like I always say, it's like a personal development program on steroids. It's going to be the thing that mirrors back to you this in and of itself. Like my avoidant tendencies really showed up in me being seen online and me sharing my truth and me really putting myself out there, knowing that I could get haters or I could get canceled or that love would be pulled away from me or I would be misunderstood or
Yeah.
all these things that I had deep wounds around, they showed up in my purpose. And so we can have like all these areas that wind up being this mirror to these things, but actually being somebody who brings conscious awareness to it, understands why it's happening, understand what's going on in your nervous system, how to navigate and move through it. Then you can start healing it through your own pouring in of yourself.
Yes.
And we don't then have to feel like we have to seek outside of ourselves to fill the holes that are within ourselves. And then we become very magnetizing
Hmm.
to other people, other things, other opportunities. We become more powerful in our energy and more magnetizing to what we desire because we heal the things within us that no longer need that external to do it. We do it for ourselves, and therefore you become an energy that just radiates that, and people are really drawn to confidence, drawn to wholeness, drawn to, you being your authentic self, even if somebody doesn't like it, and you just say,
Yeah.
I don't really give a shit.
Yeah, I think too, like a lot of, you can teach, you can learn a lot of tools. You can get on YouTube and learn a lot of nervous system tools.
Hmm.
And I'm always very big on teaching and talking about this. And what we do, well, I could teach you all the tools, but if I don't teach you the trade, and the trade is how do you develop a personal identity within self that can work through their nervous system, understand their nervous system, move and process, the tricks won't matter. Like, the tools in the hands of somebody that's untrained is dangerous because they don't know what they're doing with themselves. And when you start to train your own identity, and then we put some tools on top of it, you're like, every scenario that pops up, I know how to move. And that's a lot of the work we do, which is awesome.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads into number three. So this is more of the essence work. So we have one, the identity work,
Yeah.
two, the nervous system work, and three moves into the essence work. And this is the masculine and feminine energy, the masculine and feminine essence that we are innately, part of who we are at a soul level.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of like different teachings around this too, but we all have both energies within us. And I don't necessarily love that it uses masculine and feminine as these things because it's like it automatically makes your brain go to gender roles or
Woman, man, and this, that, or the other.
yeah.
And so we've been really kicking around a phrase lately. It's like we want to master the middle. And
Hmm.
how do we master the energies, both energies that lie within us? Because the energies make us whole. It's when we deny parts of ourselves, that's when we become unhealthy. Like men who deny their feminine side or women who deny their masculine side. And I'm not saying like the wounded masculine or the wounded feminine. I'm like the whole healthy. Like when you deny part of yourself, you aren't a complete, like when you show up, you're not authentic wherever you go. And your ability to attract and be magnetic dims a little bit, even though you may be operating from your feminine ladies. But if that's all you are all the time, like there's more to you than that. And same way with a man. If a man's just, I'm a robot. I go out there and do, and I lead, and I direct, and I make shit happen, and I go get it. And all right, do you feel?
Don't ever
Do you feel? Because if you don't feel, then you're not a human being. You're just a human doing. And so we want to make sure we're big on like mastering the middle. We talk about masculine and feminine dynamics a lot. Like it's my expertise. It's kind of my bread and butter. I love it more than anything, but
yeah.
it gets people confused because every time I say it, they're like, "Oh, so I can't have that? Oh, you're saying woman's got to make a sandwich?" No, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying it's energies. Right?
Woman's gonna make a sandwich.
Make a sandwich.
Oh, yeah. And it's like when we really think about being magnetizing, this is at the core one of the most powerful things because polarity is real. And it's real not only in your intimate relationship, which obviously creates a really powerful dynamic of passion, of intimacy,
Yeah.
of really having your core essence be fulfilled at the deepest levels for you to feel actually massive freedom and to feel powerful and magnetic is to really own your whole masculine and feminine energy.
Yeah.
And to have that dynamic and polarity be within your intimate relationship has radically changed our life, has radically changed our relationship
And our business.
and our business.
Yeah, because interesting enough, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very feminine when it comes to business. I am the creative. I like to make things. I have big ideas and I just put them out on whiteboards and I just go make things happen. And she's behind the scenes. All right, here's the number chart. One, two, three, ABC. We got to do this. It's got to tie to this. Got to tie to that. Yeah, you do that. I'll go make it happen.
Yeah. And like for the longest time, even when we started doing masculine and feminine energetic work, I was like, well, like I'm hearing things about feminine energy and I'm like, that's not me. Like that's not who I am at the core. And he's like, yeah, I mean, like this isn't some of who I am. But when you really dive in and then we started studying like deep um human design charts and so many things that we do now we bring in as tools. They're not the catalyst of our work and they don't, they aren't. I know people get weird about certain things like that, but it's like we use these things as tools. They're not like end all be all things.
Yes.
But when we really tapped into understanding ourselves, there are things that my whole masculine energy thrives more than his whole masculine energy.
Yeah.
Where he thrives in some of his whole feminine energy, I don't necessarily thrive as well, just innately with who we are at a soul level.
Yeah.
But when I am in my masculine energy way too much and I'm more in my wounded masculine energy, that dynamic does not make me magnetizing. It actually repels what I desire at the core. And
Well,
that
you
is
just you by the end of the day, you're just like this.
yeah.
It's like, can we put on suits and just look at the TV for 12 hours?
I like zone the hell out. And eventually it led to burnout. I mean, eventually it led to complete burnout.
And it happens to me too. Like I can get like super creative and go all day, and then I'm like, all right, I need to sleep for about 42 hours straight
Yeah.
because I get burnt out too.
And it's like operating in your natural essence more so, and it's specifically in intimate relationships, where the longest time it's like I was like, I need to be this person. And I was magnetized, or people were magnetized to me that wound up being wounded feminine men. It wound up being projects. It wound up being people I needed to fix. It wound up being people that I needed to lead. It wound up being people that I felt control with and that I was in control. And all of that was a mirror to my own shit. Although for the longest time, I projected it out as in, like, why do I always attract this? And why is this my life? And
Why you like this, Jim? You brought me in. I'm just here.
shit, you chase me.
Yeah, I saw that blind. Yeah, I was chasing that thing all right.
But it was one of those things where like when we really realized what was going on, we really like could say, okay, I'm really gifted here. And then when we're doing this, my masculine energy can be like very powerful here. And then when you're doing this and like being able to understand the dance and mastering the middle, it's not like you're always going to need to be in your feminine energy or you're always going to need to be in your masculine energy. That's not realistic and it's not actually healthy. And so bye, bud. When we actually like really integrate these things, then we start realizing that, when we're healthy, it's a dance. And then when I like need or what I deeply desired and what I wanted to be like actually have magnetized to me was a whole masculine man who could hold my emotions, who could hold grounded space, who could lead me when I couldn't lead myself, when my emotions were all over the place. He could like really bring the riverbanks to the river, somebody who would take charge when I needed that. I didn't feel like it was all on my shoulders. Like so many different dynamics. Sorry. So yeah, so all these dynamics come into play. And then once we realized these things and we healed the wounded energies within ourselves, we started actually being magnets for what we deeply desired and what we deeply need at the core for intimate relationships. And then I started being an actual massive magnet in my purpose as well, from the lens of utilizing my whole masculine energy to build a business because you need it, you have to have it. I can't sit here and be like, oh, I'm in my feminine energy all day and like I'm magnetizing and I'm, there's like all these people I can't online with some of this stuff, but it's like you have to have masculine structure and strategy to build a business, and being in your feminine magnetism and being able to be a receiver is really important for woman and for man. If he
Yeah.
wasn't in his receiver energy, he would never be able to sign men to come into his world
Yeah.
to massively change their life. And so,
And I think it's like you said, it's a dance. And I've talked about this for a long time, and sometimes it's hard to explain, but I've gotten way better at understanding how to describe it.
yeah.
And it's being able to support each other in both of your energies. Like, because we have couples on here, we have singles on here, we have everybody. And I know when there are different days of the week, different days of the month where, like I'm an emotional authority. So, like,
Yeah.
this is who I am. I'm very good at emotions. She might not be. She might not be great at emotions sometimes, and that's okay, but she's gotten way better. But what she is great at is she's there. And like before, when I would be in my, like, I go into my feminine, she was like, I don't know what to do with this shit. And now she's like, I know how to hold you
Hmm.
because I learned how to hold her because I didn't know how to hold her and her emotions. I had to learn how to hold her. But by me learning how to hold her and be a leader, then it's like, hey, who I am for you in those moments is who I need you to be for me in those moments. She's like, oh shit, I can do that. I can just hold you and take care of you. And the same way, like there are times when, like in my business, I got a million ideas. Trust me, I can get on this whiteboard and go for days. But I don't know how to put it into play. Like I know how to create all the content that goes with it, but if you want me to create a spreadsheet, if you want me to create a funnel and create this, that, and the other thing, we're gonna talk to her because if not, we're lost. Now, if she comes to content or creation, she's like, all right, tell me what to do because I have no freaking clue. And so it's the same. So we just learn how to dance the dance
Yeah.
because we both have strengths and weaknesses. And in our weaknesses, sometimes that might be energy where our partner has that opposite energy that will support us and build strength into us and teach us. Because it's not that we have to always not know how to do, it's having somebody that can show up and lead you to learn how to be it for yourself. Like me learning how to hold her in her emotional space taught her how to hold my emotions, taught her how to be like more emotionally vulnerable with me because she just, and for the longest time, it was like fucking scary. Like for
Hmm.
her to be that way. And it was fucking scary for me to be that way with any woman. But
Yeah.
allowing that, me leading her, she leading me, and dancing in the middle together, it creates a magnetic polarity. You don't have to be all masculine and all feminine, and that creates intimacy. That's not true. It's how close can we get into the middle and dance back and forth with one another because different days and different moments are going to require different versions of us. There are going to be moments when she's so emotionally bent, you can't be so
Hmm.
hard and rigid. You got to get soft with her and you got to fill her full of love and you got to build that into her so she can pull herself back together and be that space. So this is a beautiful dance and if you learn it, your life will change. It doesn't matter if it's just your intimate relationships, your children relationships, your client relationships, your friendships, they all change. Everybody works on these principles. This is not just an intimate place. Masculine and feminine dynamics is the dynamics of all of life. And if you learn it, you can guide everybody, you can teach and lead everybody around you.
Yep. And that kind of leads into number four, which, obviously the essence work, it's like when we aren't aligned and we're operating from these wounded energies, we start really like fueling them with like where we're putting our focus and our intentions and our
Yeah.
thoughts. And this kind of comes back into like the mindset consciousness work. So we have identity work, we have nervous system work, we have essence work, and then we go into like consciousness and mindset work and like where you're actually putting your focus and intention and the stories that you're telling yourself, the things that you're allowing your conscious awareness to be completely focused on, which then is going to either magnetize what you want
Hmm.
or magnetize what you do not want. And we
Yeah.
have something in our brain called the reticular activating system. And we will seek, or what we seek, we will find. What you seek out, what you look for, what you want to find, you will find it and you will be a magnet to it.
Yes.
So, for example, and I always say this example, but it's like we would start shopping for a car, and I was like, I want like a white SUV. And of course, there's friggin' 9 million white SUVs. But like when we would go to the car lot, that's like where my brain was like, I only see white SUVs. I can't see any other car. And so he's like, did you see that red whatever? And I'm like, no, I didn't see the red whatever. I'm looking for the white SUV. Like, and so your brain literally can only see what you are focused and intentional about looking
Yes.
for. It's like where you start focusing on something. Like for the longest time, I was like, I'm looking for a sign, and my sign is a white dove, and I need to find the white dove, and I'm going to ask for the sign. And this thing legit like has led my life to some degree. But like then what happens? I start seeing white doves everywhere, and I'm like, wait, where did all the freaking white doves come from? And it's like literally you're
Dove field behind our house.
literally white doves like flying in my backyard all of a sudden. Like I haven't seen these. We've lived here for years. Like where the hell's the white doves been? And so we literally like we create this. And so what you seek, you will find. What
Yeah.
you believe, you receive. Where your focus goes, energy flows. It's literally universal law. And so, and it's the way our brains work.
Yeah.
And so,
And it's big. And I do a lot of this work with guys in my communities, one-on-one. In the first question, I'll always ask guys, and they probably get freaking exhausted by me. It's like, what do you want? Like, what do you want? Right? Because there's only two emotions when we boil them down. There's love and fear, right? And what you want is usually what you want to love. And what you don't want is what you're afraid of. And if all your energy and all of your mind and all of your focus is on what you're afraid of happening, what is the worst possible outcome, what possibly could go wrong, if this, then that, you will find every nuance of that problem in your life. It will find you. You won't, I mean, it is the wildest thing on the planet. I know, I see it. It's, trust me, I see it sometimes because when you overthink and when you think through a lot and you don't really like focus on what you want, and you start focusing on everything that could be and could not be and whatnot, you're going to experience all the things. And so I always try to boil down like, what do you want the picture to look like? Because if you want the picture to look ugly, keep talking this way.
yeah.
And it's going to get disgusting. And it's going to be worse than what you can imagine. But if you want it to look beautiful, then you need to go through your life and really pay attention to what it is that I want to look beautiful. And then look at your life and say, what is beautiful currently? Instead of, oh man, well, I don't have this and I don't have you ever had, nope, I never had it. You know, have it. Like, like
Yeah.
what you want in your relationship, what you want with your health, what you want in your bank account, what you want in your business, what you want in your friendships, what you want with your kids. What do you want to live like? And the more focused you are on those things, you will become really intentional about what you think about.
Mhm.
Then your beliefs and feelings will get really intentional, and then your actions get really intentional. And we call that alignment. And when that alignment happens, shit starts to manifest really fast.
We also get in our brain, our ego wants to go, but what if? And then we want to go down all the what ifs of all the worst things that could possibly happen and all the things that, could go wrong and all the ways that No, I was really, really bad about this. Um, and and then we go into what ifing, like, but what if this happens? And what if that happens? And it's never, we find our brain is set up this way, but we never like what if in faith, what if in what we want, like what if this happens? Like from this energy of like, what if, like possibility, what if potentiality,
Wouldn't it be amazing if?
would it be amazing if?
Yeah.
Like, but our brain winds up going in, what if this happens? Like, oh God, what if this happens? And it's like all the fear-based things, all the things we don't want actually to happen, all the things we want to protect ourselves from. And in doing that, your energy starts going to those things. You are no longer a magnet to what you want.
Mhm.
You're no longer standing in power of the potentiality and the possibility of calling in and being a magnet to all the things you desire. You more so put yourself in a frequency to be a magnet and attract all the things that you fear, all the things you do not desire.
Yes. And it's
And
always fun.
Yeah, it's not.
And so it's like, wouldn't it be amazing? Like we do that a lot. Like every night in the morning was like, even every month, we're like, what's potential? What's possible? And then what would be amazing if this
And we
happened?
still have to literally consciously lead ourselves and catch ourselves because your brain wants to scan. Your nervous system always wants to scan to keep you safe. And so to keep you safe, it's like, okay, what's the potentiality that could go wrong? I need to be prepared. So then I can create a barrier, or I can create like a freaking warrior attitude so that this happens, then I'm like, I got it. And instead, it's like in doing that, it's like doomsday thinking. It's like prepping for the worst to happen, and therefore you become a frequency match for it.
Yes.
And you're no longer a magnet to what you want. And you're not in the field of frequency that's going to be available for what you want to attract to you. So we start embodying things and we start finding things that we don't want.
Yeah, because if you really literally focus on what you don't want, like I don't want this to happen, I want this to happen, you start to get really hyper focused on all the little things that lead to that. And you become very critical of people in your life. You become critical of your partner. You become critical of your kids. You become critical of this thing and that thing and this thing to the point where you're like, somebody goes, what are you looking for? What are you really, honestly, what are you looking for? And you're like, I'm just making sure everything's going to go okay.
Well, we
Yeah.
wonder like it's like this false protection. So it's like for me, when it was a safety thing and a control thing, it was like if I think of every possible thing that could go wrong or that could hurt me, if I think of every possible thing that could like fuck me over or like make me feel a certain way, and I prepare for that, well then when it happens, I'm not let down. Then when it happens, I'm prepared. Then when it happens, I can feel like, oh, well, I knew that was going to happen, whatever. But it's like in doing that, I'm like literally like not magnet to what I want, and I was creating what I didn't want in the process of avoiding it, and this whole fucking thing doesn't work. And I literally did this with $50,000.
Yeah, you literally did this all the time. It was like, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm like, what? Did the first shoe fall? I don't even know what we're talking about. You're like, I'm just waiting for the other shoe. I'm
No,
like, did
no,
the
I
other
literally
shoe drop? I don't even remember. I don't remember the first shoe, but it's just where she was.
no, I was clinging on
Yeah.
to this out of fear because we had like a dip in our income. I basically went offline, like checked out, had a lot going on, and we had this dip happen, and then I was clinging on and like so like oh my God, like the savings account, like it has to stay at this number, and if it doesn't stay at this number, and I'm like focusing on what if this happens and what if we lose this and what if like literally went through this whole thing in 2023, and then I'm like, this. Like, this is work that you do. Like, and it's time to like stop. And I literally had to start leading myself differently because I was literally creating exactly what I was fearing the
Yeah.
most. And my nervous system was completely shot around it all. And it was some deep work and deep lessons of like two of these things we've talked about. One, like anxious or avoidant and like literally clinging on, or focusing on all the fears that I had in fears. And then at the end of the day, when they actually manifested and I actually was a magnet to those things happen, guess what? I didn't die. Guess what? I'm still here. Guess what? We've tripled that since then. Like
Yes.
it's like we can reverse things and you can become a magnet for something. It's not about time, it's about alignment. But when you're operating from that space, you literally will create it. And I did. And
Yes.
and when I actually saw myself creating it, I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing?
It's like whatever you seek, you'll find. And this is why it's so important. Like the first part of alignment is thoughts. And if your thoughts are disjointed or are nowhere near aligned with what you want the outcome to be, like just trust me, the outcome is not going to resemble anything you want it to be because this part of your brain starts the process. Yeah.
Yep, and that kind of leads into number five, where thinking about 2023-ish. I think it was like toward the end of 2023.
Yeah.
I'd lose track of time, honestly. Like it's really
You got a
bad.
great memory.
And time is a thing. I don't even know. Time doesn't even
She
exist to
got a
me.
great memory about me.
Time doesn't exist to me. But it's like as I kind of went into this whole like work on myself, soft girl error, like I'm the feminine, I'm gonna just flow, like, all these things.
Commit.
Oh, sorry. When I went into that space and I lost my purpose, I say I lost, I just shelved it to some degree. And I was like, this is what I have to do for myself right now. This is this and all these things. And number five is you are most magnetic and powerful when you are living in your divine, individual, soul aligned purpose. And if you feel purposeless and you are not in the energy that your soul is here to share, if you're not really like living lit up and on fire, and I call it lighthouse energy, like if you're not living in your soul's work and you're just in the mundane, you're doing the 9 to 5 you hate, you're showing up and you don't feel purposeful, you don't have an individual mission on your heart. He could have it all day. He could be trying to get me to have it, or vice versa. But at the end of the day, if I'm not purposeful in my own life, I am not powerful in my energy. I am dimmed. I am dimming my light. I am not showing up in my ultimate power, and I'm not as magnetizing. And I will say it deeply affected our relationship a short term before we like even brought consciousness to it, because I was borderline depressed. I was feeling all kinds of things and I didn't fully understand it, but it was like my purpose is gone to some degree. And I was still purposeful. I was pouring purpose into friends. I was pouring purpose into other people. I was showing up, but I was energetically burnt out and I had no boundaries around certain things. But I wasn't living in my true mission and purpose that my soul's here for. And therefore, I was uninspired. And I always hear, like I always heard my mentor say this, like it is our responsibility to be inspired. And inspired means in spirit. And to be in spirit, you have to be in your soul's work. You have to be in your purpose. If you get lazy, if you get complacent, if you get working something that isn't truly what you're meant to do, you will feel it.
Yeah, and I explain this a lot to men because men are always like, "Well, what do I do to find my purpose?"
Mhm.
And I always say there's two different like definitions, and I give purpose is who you become, mission is what you do with the person you become,
Yeah.
and like your sole purpose is going to be different for everyone. My sole purpose is I want to become the greatest form of love. And then my mission is to give that to men. I want men to learn how to be that for themselves. And so it's like, who do I become? And then what do I do with that person? And a lot of us, we forget the becoming part. And we go straight to the doing part. Well, this job's, I'm going to go do this. This will be my purpose. I'm going to do that. That's my purpose. Who are you becoming along the way? Who are you becoming as a person that you can take into these new places and these places are filling for you? Because if you're just showing up to do, you're showing up to, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do that. I'm going to find my purpose. Who did you become? Not what you're doing. We're going to start with the being, doing, and then you'll have the things that you desire.
Mhm.
We got to stop putting the cart before the horse. All of us want to go do, like we want to have it. We want to do something. We want to be it. Do be have or do have be, however you want to call it. I don't remember what it is.
Be do have.
I do be do have, but the other one is like if I do things and I'll have it, and then I'll become the person that
Yeah.
yeah, right. If I do a bunch of work, then I'll have $1 million and I'll become a better person. As long as you just become a better person, and then the work will be natural. The tools will be light in your hands. And so what is your purpose every day? Like, who are you becoming as a man or a woman? Who are you becoming as a couple? Because like you have your own individual purpose identity, and then we have in our relationship, like what's our relational identity? Like who are we becoming? We're always checking the waters every month, every 6 months. We're like, what are we going to do the next 6 months? Like, who are we going to become here?
Yeah.
What is this going to evolve into? What do we want to add in? What do we want to take away? And that way, we're always becoming greater versions so that when we show up to do anything with ourselves, we're doing it from the most aligned self.
Yeah, because I always say it's like I work with a lot of women that I just categorize as light workers, and that whatever you're sharing your light in your work in the world, and there's always like a double mission. It's like we go through something and then we give back on the other hand of it, or like what our innate. There's a book called the big leap, I think is
Oh
what this
yeah,
book is
bigly.
called. And it's like your zone of excellence versus your zone of genius. And like you have skill sets and like those can be amplified into a certain way of your purpose. But then it's like you have this zone of genius is like your natural ways of evolution within yourself. And then how do you share that with the world? How do you give back? And that can look many different ways. It can look like running a business. It can look like working for somebody else in a thing that really lights you up. It can be service in a different industry.
Hmm.
But there's always this space where you're sharing your purpose. And if you feel purposeless, and like for the longest time, my mom was a stay-at-home mom my whole life. And she anchored in that her purpose was being our mom. And all the things that went along with that.
Yeah.
And then obviously when we left the house, it was like, wait, now I don't have a purpose. And then she went through a huge shift of like what it is now. Like, what's my purpose as an
Yeah.
empty nester? What's my purpose? And then it's like, okay, now I'm Nana and I have all these other things and roles, but it's like how you find your purpose and being very clear on that because I can tell you like yes, part of my purpose is being a mom, but it's not my purpose. It's not like ultimately what I know I'm here to do on a bigger scale. On, yes, I love my kids and I raise my kids and I've raised very conscious, amazing, emotionally intelligent children. But it's like beyond that, I have a bigger mission. And when I wasn't living in it, I I felt it
Yeah.
and I was not magnetizing. I was actually repellent of most things. And so when we are purposeless or we feel purposeless, then there is a disconnect and you're not going to be as magnetic because you know at the core who you truly are. You
Yes.
know at the core that you're meant for big things. You wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be in our world, you wouldn't be attracted to us if on some level you did not feel like you were meant for deep love, deep intimacy, more power, more magnetism in who you are as an individual, more purpose, and really amplifying and becoming all that you're truly meant to be, having growth and ascension at the forefront of
Hmm.
yourself as an individual and as a couple.
And God didn't create you to be small. He didn't create you to play small.
Yeah.
He's like, I want you to play all out, but I need you to become what all out feels like. And not chase all out in things or doingness. The doingness is natural when you become the person.
Hmm.
It's who do you become and how does your path unfold by becoming that? What we try to do is we try to skip ahead. I want to get here, but I don't become the person that is ready for that spot. But every little step unfolds 32 paths. And then the next step, 32 paths, next step, 64 paths. And we got all of these paths that we can take where if we never walked and if we never started to do the becoming work, then we would never have all these missions on our hearts. We never
Yeah.
have all these opportunities because we never thought, I mean, never thought in a million years, 9 months ago, we would be doing this,
No.
like doing this masterclass because we had kind of like washed our hands a little bit
Yeah.
with the whole like conscious couple relationship thing. And then all of a sudden, like about 3 months ago, we were like, it's calling us again.
Well, there was many different layers to that specifically, but yeah, it was like we didn't realize the evolution that was going to come in this space. And then what we became individually on the back end of it, and then how we even grew further individually that then amplified, more of who we are in our relationship
Yeah.
and then more of who we are in our purpose. And so when we think about that, you have your identity work, you have your nervous system work, you have your essence work, you have your mindset and your consciousness work, and then you have literally your purpose work. And all of these five pillars ultimately contribute to the overall of you being magnetic and you being powerful and
Yes.
you being one that is chosen by life, chosen by love, chosen by money, chosen by purpose, chosen by opportunities, chosen by clients and customers and friends and family. But at the end of the day, what it comes down to is you being the chosen one for you. And when you are that and you pour into these areas, in addition to some others that we could talk about forever, right? But like, and we do have an opportunity for that. But it's like when you are chosen by you at the core and you do this work on yourself and you transcend as an individual, everything outside of you, every external thing becomes magnetizing to you. You become a frequency match for your actual desires. You become an identity match for the things that you know you're meant for because you couldn't want them if they weren't within you. You can't desire something that doesn't already exist within you. You can't be drawn to people and what they have if on some levels it's not who you are.
Yes.
So, like you being here and you being drawn to this space, it's because on some levels you desire something that is already within you. And it's just like unveiling, releasing the curtain, seeing things you can't see. It's like awakening to layers that are running, and then being able to actually become the embodiment and alignment of the work that we do in this space, and then being an actual magnetic, being actual power, empowered in yourself. And therefore, you then are the co creator of your life, the co creator with your higher self, the co creator with God's source universe, co creator with your partner, co creator with your kids, co creator with your clients and your purpose. And you actually then are able to create what you ultimately are seeking on anything that you desire outside of yourself. It's coming back to yourself. And you are seeking something outside of yourself to fulfill the thing you're really looking for inside yourself. And that is to choose yourself. That is to love yourself. That is to be most empowered within your own self. It's coming back to your soul self versus operating from this wounded self. It's coming back into really like truly being fulfilled and at peace. And therefore, your frequency is at the highest levels of gratitude, love, and authenticity. Because when you can operate from those frequencies, everything shifts outside of you. Everything starts moving in a different direction. Anything that you could possibly want now is simply because there's something inside you that there's just a limitation, a block, a layer, an unconscious and subconscious realm that needs to be awakened to, realigned with, embodied with, and shifted so that you become the identity frequency match for it, that you become the embodied essence of what you want. And ultimately, that's what we do, and that's what we're passionate about. And so thank y'all for being here. We have a
That's good.
little
You can't do
we're
that. That was
going
good.
to
Not for Halloween.
Oh,
Gonna mute. We're going to like dive into some questions. We're going to dive into if anybody wants to come on and ask something live. We're here and available to coach you live. But before we jump into that, we want to introduce to you our next program that we are launching starting tonight on this masterclass. It is a 3 month immersion experience. We don't even call it a group program because it's more than a program. It's literally going to be an identity shift in the process of moving through it. It's called The Chosen One. And the whole premise of a 3 month immersion is you are going to take each month and unveil the different pieces of yourself that we talked about tonight. All 5 of these pieces plus some, or each month you're going to dive into being the chosen one of your own personal self, the chosen one in your relationships and your intimate dynamics. We're going to unveil masculine and feminine polarity. We're going to unveil the pieces of the mirror of what's going on in your relationship. We're going to unveil the things of why necessarily you're pushing away being chosen and being a magnet to what you desire. And then the 3rd month is going to be really diving into your purpose self. And it's not your purpose self as in like we're going to dive into deep business coaching or deep like figuring out what your true purpose is. Although we've had many people come to us and say that they had light bulb moments of what their true purpose was through the lens of the work that we're going to take you through in month 3. But it's more coming into you becoming the light, you
Yes.
becoming the person who really anchors in purpose and truth, and you becoming the person that maximizes opportunities in that area so that you become a magnet to purpose, partnership, passion, polarity, and deep prosperity.
Yeah.
And so this whole program is designed to become magnetic and powerful, but to be chosen by life, love, and leadership.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool because we're going to give a man and a woman track. So like, sometimes you get into these courses and in these programs and these immersion communities where it's all men and women together, but they're having to go through and learn different things. And what we figured out is like if we can separate in some areas and bring together in other areas, you create the most power. And so we're going to have a woman's track and a man's track. And then in moments, we're going to move you together and pull you apart, move you together and pull you apart. And then we get into group calls where we all come together and we Q&A and we hot seat coach and we work through things together. So it's not just this whole we sit and teach and preach and you sit and soak and everybody's happy. We want this to be a transformational experience. And the more we learn, the more we grow, the more we love community. So we want people around us. We want to put our arms around people. We want people to put their arms around us. And we know we grow better and faster together than we do individually. So when we get into these groups and we learn and we move together, our ability to transform goes faster. Especially when you're open, vulnerable, and playing full out, you're going to get the results that you want, but you have to be willing to be commit to that process.
Yeah, and it's for individuals or couples. So obviously, if you're an individual and you're, looking for this pathway in of yourself and you just want to go on the individual journey, there's that pathway for you.
Yeah.
If you're a couple and you want to do this together or do it separate alongside each other, then that's also equally as powerful. But we do, like he said, have two tracks that you will be going down depending on if you're a man or a woman, but then there will be this beautiful integration. And a lot of it, you will have drops of like activating, awakening teachings. They'll be almost like power punches. They're not super long, but like these modules that will literally like just activate you. And then it's the immersion experience where we're like literally in it with you. We're building community. We are hot seat coaching you. You're getting basically coached by two professionals in this area that we are, in immersed with you for 3 months through the content. But then anything that's coming up in the 3 months that you bring to the calls, you're getting coached by us. And then there's also a VIP option where you can add on one-on-one, immersive.
Yes.
I obviously would coach women and then he would coach men, or we actually even coincide those. So sometimes we'll do 2-on-1, or we'll, tag team some of that stuff together, depending on the situation, depending on.
Speak womanese a little bit. I'm decent at it.
Well, we give different perspectives and different, we bring different levels of powerhouse
I gotta
energy.
get my translation dictionary out for that.
Yes, you do. Honestly, you do. So if that's something that you feel called to, you feel like you're really ready for the rest of 2025 to really amplify into 2026. We're running this for the last 3 months of the
Yeah.
of the year.
It's gonna be
And
fun. It's gonna be exciting, and it's literally. I mean, we've been putting this together for a while now.
it's sort of the best. It's the
Yeah.
best program. I mean, it's
It's
like
the best one we've
you
ever done
went through.
together, and we've done a few good ones.
Oh my, it's like I'm giddy about it.
I am too.
Because I feel like it's taking, and if you've taken our programs before, which I know several of you that are here potentially have, it's like that on like massive steroids. And like the growth that we've had since we even created some of those programs like Ravishing or Penetrate or Masculine Mastery or the Apex Man or Reflection. These programs, Aligned Attraction, like we have these programs in our vault, and like that's like you have access to those if you join our mastermind bigger groups or our one-on-one coaching, which is also spots available for that if that's more your vibe. But we have these programs and they're amazing. Like they're absolutely amazing. We have massive testimonies and reviews in these programs. This program is fucking next level.
Yeah, because I think it takes the
It's not even a program.
it
It's
takes
an
yeah, it
immersion.
takes the learning and it mixes it with the coaching in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And so it goes from us just top down teaching to us being at level with you and moving you through the process together.
Yeah. So if you're interested in that, we would love to chat with you. Just send us a message,
Yeah.
or you can comment in the section and we can send you a link to have a call and like just kind of talk about what that may look like.
And I think one of the perks, if you decide like you want to pull the trigger in the next
Oh yeah.
48 hours, we're creating a community for the people that just say, yeah, I want to go all in the next 48 hours, where you're going to have a private community with me and her for 3 months. And just to, you can ask questions, you can be coached, you can go through the process like we're in your pocket. You can talk to us and we're there with you walking through the process. And it's having that
Hmm.
from the people that are laying it out, and
I mean,
then
that's worth the investment
it's
of
worth the
itself.
investment for 3 months. Yeah. So if that's something you're excited about, something that feel a calling on your heart, shoot us a message. If you're in my men's community, shoot me a message. If you're in Jocelyn's community, shoot a message. If you're on the Zoom, you know where you can find us. Email us, text us, call us, slap us, whatever you need to do to us. And we would love to talk and just see if it's a fit. We want to make sure that it's a good spot for you because we want this community to be like on fire
Yeah.
because it's going to be
Yeah, and having a short conversation, we'll be able to tell you like this is it, this is the pathway, or we may have another pathway that we'd suggest. But this program will be next level, and we're excited about it. And this is the launch of it, and we're doing it live on this masterclass. We'll obviously be talking and launching it on social media and all our platforms. But we're giving you a rare opportunity for being here live, for coming to this masterclass, for committing your time tonight, to have a first peek and have a little extra perk if you decide to join us before we actually launch it out to everybody else. So,
And if y'all have any questions, we'll unmute you guys, or if you're in the groups, y'all can drop questions in the comments and we would love to answer them.
yep. So we have a few more minutes. We plan for this to be 90 minutes. We're pretty much on track.
Yeah.
But we are here to take on any questions if anybody wants
Unmute
to.
yourself and ask away.
Yep, or you can comment if you don't want to unmute yourself, or if you're in the free group, you can comment here. I think did you have a comment there?
John, I got you. I'll send you. I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And so if you want to ask us any questions about the program, you may do so. Or if you just have a burning question on your heart that you want coaching on tonight, then we are free for that for a few minutes here. And
I want to see
oh yeah, okay.
Oh.
I'm looking at the chat over here, but
what you got. Yeah, and it could be anything we talked about or anything that kind of relates to this. We'd love to help you out, answer questions, give you whatever you need. I know Dave always has great questions.
and if not, that's obviously no worries. We really, really appreciate y'all being here tonight, for showing up, for being on the lives, for being in the Zoom. We literally have never done three different platforms.
We should have done TikTok too. That would have been fun.
Oh yeah, we could have done TikTok.
That would have been weird.
Dave's unmuted.
Oh, there's that guy.
I did have one question. So,
Okay.
what do you guys do now to like protect or reset your energy when you feel yourself slipping back into like old patterns and old stuff?
Yeah, so obviously there could be a space where you get triggered, right? And so you get triggered and your nervous system then starts reacting, and that immediately is going to take you into past stuff. And so one thing is being very cognizant and conscious of when we know that we've been triggered by something, and we feel it now, we're more conscious of it now. So it's like really getting conscious of like what does it look like for me and what does it feel like for me when I go into triggered energy? Because when we are triggered, emotions are high, so intelligence is low. And so our conscious brain is kind of like checked offline. So then we have to move in a way to regulate our nervous system to get back from like that high emotional state of trigger back into actually conscious brain, and then to be able to process it. So we've done this individually, but we've also done this as a support for each other. So when I notice that potentially he's triggered, we kind of have these words that we'll say. And it's like, because used to, like, I would be the avoidant. So when he was triggered or when there was these big high things going on, then I would like be like, get the fuck away from me. Like, I'm out.
Fuck away.
And then he's like chasing me. And like, I'm like, if you don't get away from me, I'll punch you in the face. And like, so now it's like we say these words and then we know like, okay, we need a 15-minute break. We need to regulate our nervous system. And we are going to teach in this program key things and ways to regulate your nervous system, because there's a lot of like nervous system regulation teaching out there, but like actually being able to anchor into regulating your nervous system in these moments, then your conscious brain can come online, and then you can actually then start asking yourself powerful questions and bringing forth what's actually going on. And when you can get conscious of that, then you can shift the behavior.
That's
You
one
go
thing, and then I want to say another thing because trigger is one definitely. I think
Yeah.
another one too is if you feel yourself slipping in goals or things that you set for yourself. Like, hey, I wanted to be in shape by this date, but I'm starting to slide on my workouts, or I'm sliding on my food, or I'm sliding on this. Instead of you making it mean something about you, revisit the reason behind the goals, revisit
The why.
the why, and then reestablish goals that may be more doable in this season. Because different seasons, like I did from December until March, I did 75 hard. I was just in a season of going the fuck after it. And then I'm like, all right, I'm not in that season anymore right now. So for me to say, hey, I'm going to work out twice a day and eat perfect all the time and drink a gallon of water every day and all that is not going to happen. So I had to really revisit like what would it look like for me to be healthy, so I don't have to judge myself, and also I can still create healthy habits around that and not slide back. So it's all about how do I give myself a little grace and look at myself in a way that, all right, if I set these big huge goals, but these I'm setting goals for what reason? What's the why? And then is it in alignment with what I really want and what I'm really willing to commit to? Because sometimes we say, I want a six pack, but why do you want it? Because I just want to be in shape. All right, why do you want that? I mean, you dig down about six layers instead of that one, or be like Dave and go 32 layers, and we get like 32 layers deep, and we get down there somewhere, and he'll realize like, okay, I really don't want a six pack. I just want to be healthy, and then he can start working about what is healthy then, and what is your healthy, because somebody's healthy and like my healthy versus somebody else's healthy is going to be different. And so is how do you build habits around what you really want versus what you think your ego needs to feel good. And so you get really specific because and two, challenge the, for lack of better words, the little bitch inside of you that says, well, I just really want to sit on the couch and eat pizza every day. Well, that's not going to work either. That's not in alignment with who you really want to be. That's more in alignment with the person you just wants to be comfortable. So you got to do a little work, a little self work on that.
Yeah, and I'll add this final thing is
No.
there's macro habits and micro habits. And so what something that like when you really are going through your subconscious brain and your identity and it runs on autopilot and it brings in all these old things, we can say, okay, I'm going to set up habits. But at the end of the day, even the habits are hard to execute if you don't have micro habits in place. So it's like,
Yes.
okay, I'm going to go work out after work every day, or I'm going to go work out in the morning. Okay, what's the micro habit that actually is going to lead to you doing that thing? And so for me, like when I was teaching, for example, and I was working full time and I was like, I'm going to work out after school and I have these health goals, then I was like, my micro habit is I'm going to pack my gym clothes and I'm going to pack my gym shoes and I'm going to put my water bottle and all the things in my car in my freaking seat in the driver's seat. I would put my like workout bag in the driver's seat. So when I went out to my car after school, it was right there. I had no excuse. It was like a micro habit. And immediately it told myself, like, I could easily say I'm tired. I can easily say whatever, but that's the immediate reminder for my brain to come out of the pattern, which would be to just leave school, come home, eat my snack, sit and like
Watch
pick
suits.
out on TV. And so it's like just doing little micro things that like disrupt your autopilot actually is what then can create the macro habit. So
I
we
do that.
always
I still
say,
do that every day when I work out. Like I put them the days I'm working out. I put my workout clothes the night before beside my sink in the count on in the bathroom, my sink. So I know when I wake up, I go brush my teeth. They're my clothes. You're not missing a workout. Go work out.
because your brain will fuck you. I mean, it literally will. Like it like, oh, I want all these things, but you run on autopilot. So if you do not seriously put conscious intention towards things and then look at, okay, what are the habits that are going to be embodying this level of identity that I want? Well, then what are the micro habits that are actually going to
Yeah.
get me to do the habits? And then on repetition, you do that over and over again. And then all of a sudden, it's not as hard. All of a sudden, your brain's just doing it. And next thing you know, it's just your identity because our identity is created on repetition of doing the things over and over and over again to create neural pathways that then create the thing where your autopilot just does it.
Yeah.
It's just like brushing your teeth in the morning. It's just like, riding a bike. Like you just know and you just become. And so then like you don't question if you're a bike rider. You could know you could just go ride a bike.
Hmm.
And so as it becomes part of who you are and your identity, then you no longer have to do these things. But in the process of creating a new identity, you have to break it down like that or your brain will do what it wants to do.
Was that good, Dave?
Yes, for sure. Appreciate it.
Yeah, brother.
Awesome. Brenda said, how many group calls does the program have? Okay, so the program will have modules which will be dropped, and it's like the teachings will be dropped every week. Every week you'll have a module that is dropped, and then we will have two group calls in that month. And so we'll have like two modules that drop. You'll have a workbook that goes with it. And then we will have a group community. And then you will have two group calls. There will be one for,
The first module and one for the second module. Or one for the first two modules. So
yeah.
2 weeks call, 2 weeks call. And then like the second call of the month is the hot seat. Get up there and put your ass on the line and we start coaching.
Yeah, so it's like a Q&A call and then a hot seat coaching call.
Yeah.
And then obviously if you sign up within the next 48 hours, then you'll have the access via Telegram chat with us. And so that will be kind of exclusive from everybody else that's going to be joining. It's just kind of an extra perk that we're giving people who showed up for this.
And you can be a
So,
frying pan for 3 months. That's always fun.
yeah. So the group calls, there will be a total of 6 group calls, 3 Q&A calls, style calls, and then 3 hot seat coaching calls.
Yeah.
And you will also have a module every week. So there'll be 12 modules where you're actually learning and teaching, and you'll have a workbook that goes along with the module.
And different activation modules that go along with it, because some things like when we start doing nervous system things like that, we're going to put in nervous system tools, activations, so you learn different tool sets that you can use for your own nervous system work, your own essence work, your own mindset work. Because we don't want to just teach you, oh, this is what it looks like. We want to teach you how to put this in place and implement, because if you don't embody it, doesn't mean anything anyway.
Yeah, and the whole premise of this program truly, because we've invested in a lot of courses, a lot of programs, a lot of masterminds, a lot of things. And what we've accumulated from our own experience and, being in these spaces is there's multiple different parts. The first part is awakening to anything. And then the next part is you can awaken to something and you can have like these like inspirations and activations and be like, oh my God, like, this is brain bombs. Holy shit. Like I like awakened to something in myself. But if you don't actually do something to embody the change, if you don't actually move through the alignment piece to embody it, it doesn't actually change your identity. So you can be activational. You can be activated. And we have that. Like we have groups like that. We have the Brotherhood, we have the Ascension, we have these spaces where you will be activated and they are powerful and they are life shifting because you're in the activation every day. And those little small frequency shifts can change your identity. But being immersed and actually embodying the teachings, actually embodying the activations, in the awakenings is where your life actually starts shifting, where your identity actually starts shifting. And that's what this program is all about. And it's becoming the 3 core pieces: self, relationship with partner and other people, and relationship with your purpose and your mission. And in that, you become the most powerful magnetizing version of yourself. And you were chosen by life, love, and leadership. And so that is the embodiment piece that comes into play with this particular immersion. And that's where it's different than just like awakening activation.
You could literally get on TikTok, YouTube, Reels, whatever, and get activated 24 hours a day. But are you going to take that activation and move your ass toward what you want and become the person that you say you want to become? And that's the premise of why we build the things we build and the things that we do in coaching or whatnot. We want people to actually change their life. Like I'm a great teacher. I'm really good at it. I could teach you everything about everything. And it doesn't mean shit. Like it just,
It does.
well, I mean, it means a little bit, but if you're not able to take that knowledge and apply, it's just potential knowledge. It's just potentiality of what you have. I would rather
feel
take
like for me-
potentiality and make that reality by embodiment.
For me, in my opinion, it's more of like it takes longer because if you're learning something and you're awakening to something, then you then start finding it in your world or you then start seeing it. So like if I'm awakened to something and I see myself or I see a situation and then it happens in my world, I'm like, oh, I see this. Like I've already been awakened to this. Like now my brain's like, okay, I see this. But the alignment work and the embodiment work is being in the activations and then being coached and then realigning your consciousness, your identity, your nervous system, and your way of operation, which then ultimately is going to shift you on an identity level and therefore actually changes long term and faster.
Yes.
I think life can give us, I feel like life can give us experience and evidence that grows us. But when you get in and you immerse yourself in something like this with people that walk the walk, and we're not perfect, but we lead ourselves like a motherfucker every single day in what we teach and what we preach. And so it's the immersion of that. And we share behind the scenes. We're real, raw, and authentic with you. We're going to tell you, spaces where we are not perfect and where we had to lead ourselves and how we've had to really implement this stuff because it's not innate. And like we don't arrive somewhere and then you're just like, oh, I've got it, I'm perfected. But when you can have the tools and you have the consciousness and you have the embodiment of this stuff, it's life-changing in every single area of your life. And when you can do that, you shift everything outside of you. And not to say that we're never going to have moments where life's hard or we have to learn more layers or lessons or we have to lead ourselves differently. But having these tools and having the consciousness to do so radically shifts how you experience life.
Yes.
And I always know now, like I don't even look at things that come in that are my lessons as bad things. Like last week, I was in the trenches with some like deep core shit. Like I was in my journal like all day, every day. Like I cried to him probably like more than I have in years. And I'm like in it. And but at the same time, on the back end of it, on the back end of it, I literally feel like a whole new person in a week.
Hmm.
And like I'm different. I'm different sitting here than I was a week ago. And every time we go to launch a program like this, it's going to be like, okay, Jocelyn, okay, Jim, like y'all are you're gonna stand in this and teach this. Let's see if you embody it. And
That fire.
and we're
Yeah.
activated in that truth. And I can sit here and stand so confidently and being able to literally teach this and be a leader of it because I have to do it for myself over and over and over and over again.
I remember this guy told me one time, pretty smart guy. He lives in a state, Bluegrass or something like that. He told me he's like, whenever things like that start to pop up, I get a little excited. I always say, what am I about to learn?
Hmm.
And when he told me that, I was like, man, that's like, now that's a framework that to live by right there. I love that.
Yep. And that's ultimately what we do
I
now.
mean, I don't hold Bluegrass against him, but
I'm like, whoa, shit. Like, why am I going through this? And I'm like,
Go
okay,
Cats.
bring it on, bitches. Bring it on. I'm holding on, but we're going.
yeah.
So, Brenda, if you have any other questions, by all means, reach out to me,
Yeah.
babe. We'll answer anything for you and see if it's a good fit.
And we'll give you the rest of your evening back because we've been over about an hour and
43 minutes.
43 minutes. We're doing great. We're perfectly on time. We're 13 minutes over. For you, that's amazing.
That is pretty good.
Pretty good.
I'm a talker.
When we get together, we're bloviators.
Yes, Brenda, I would love to have a chat. So I'll message you.
Well,
Yeah.
guys, thank y'all so much. We love you guys. We appreciate you. This was fun. And if y'all have any things that y'all want to learn, know about, ask questions about, shoot me a message, shoot her a message, shoot us a message,
Yep.
and we'll talk and do whatever we need to do on the back end.
Yep. Thank y'all, guys. Thank y'all for being here.
And we'll get the recording together and we'll send it out an email so you guys can listen to it again.
Yep.
All right, guys. Talk to y'all soon.
Bye, guys.